Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's episode was recorded on June the 18th, 2024. I'm your host, gaming psychologist, and with me, as always, becoming fashionable on his forehead.
Caffeine Rage, and I don't think they go there.
Well, it went with fashionable. It was a double F. What can I say? Anyways,
yeah, that was a double F.
On today's show, we of course be discussing some games that we have played. Life by You is no longer among the living. A senior Riot dev says the League of Legends player base is getting older with fewer newbies jumping in. And should time allow, given that we've spent 45, 50 minutes just chatting, we will do a discovery queue tonight. Timestamps will be in the show notes following the respective topics. Hello, Rach.
We did Franken content because we're not recording next week. That's kind of the other thing.
That is true. We're not doing that.
So Game Club is going to be an extra week.
Yay! Which, I mean, that helps me. I've barely played Another Crab's Treasure. Not because I don't like it, but just like, I don't know. I've got other stuff have been doing.
I've defeated, I want to say 4 or 5 of the main bosses.
Hell yeah.
The boss encounters.
Yay.
And, I've played enough of it to have thoughts, obviously. But I've also, lost progress in the game. Which, that's a discussion for 2 weeks from now.
Indeed. And I had never intended to beat it unless I really, really liked it. But I will have played it enough to have thoughts. And who knows, maybe I'll turn all of those accessibility features on. Maybe I'll just play with gun.
That just amuses me.
Yes. But more on that in 2 weeks. So what we've got going on now for games that we've played. I've got 2. You've got 1. So, want a sandwich?
Oh my.
Me, then you, then me?
Okay.
So, my first game that I'm going to talk about is a sequel to games that I have talked about on the show before. Earth Defense Force 5. The Earth Defense Force series, there are more than 5 games because, of course, there's spin-offs and weird sort of sequel ones that are more like expansions and, that kind of deal. But anyways, Earth Defense Force 5 is the in order that I have played them, the next mainline game. I've got the one after Earth Defense Force 5, which is called World Brothers, to play. And then Earth Defense Force 6 is out in Japan, and it releases to the West in July of this year. So, the Earth Defense Force series is like playing a sci-fi B-movie as a video game. You play a member of the aforementioned Earth Defense Force and fight, the giant insects and the giant robots and the alien flying saucers and motherships and other weird things to defend the Earth. Every game more or less plays the same. There are some number of levels, usually 100 or more, that all basically boil down to kill all of the alien insects and sometimes it's keep the objective safe or get to this point on the map to kill the really giant alien insect. There's a few odd things here or there. There's like a giant mecha battle in Earth Defense Force 4, and in Earth Defense Force 5, there have been a couple of little instances of side things, like more sort of vehicle-based combat. And every game adds a little more to sort of the insanity. The previous Earth Defense Force game added classes. In all of the old Earth Defense Force games, save for the turn-based strategy games, you play exclusively as sort of generic soldier man. And in some of the games, you're an elite special forces guy, and in some of them, you're just like a normie who happens to be like the best at defending the Earth. And you get a wide variety of hundreds of weapons to choose from. And then in the previous Earth Defense Force game, they added classes, which are maintained in this game, and the classes are made a little bit more special or a little bit more powerful by having sort of new abilities added to them. So the 4 classes are Soldier, Wing Diver, which is like anime girl with jetpacks and laser guns, Fencer, which is like a power armor guy, like a heavy power armor suit guy.
Yeah, I remember playing him.
Yes, and then Air Raider, which is like more of a support oriented class that could use buffs for your allies or debuffs for your enemies. Could call in vehicles, airstrikes, that kind of thing. So Earth Defense Force 5 just sort of adds to those classes. The Soldier gets a sprint, which sounds kind of lame, but honestly is super useful because 1, it's a sprint, so you can move faster. And 2, when you sprint, this little like bubble pops up around you, and you collect any item boxes, any loot drops that the bubble touches, so you no longer have to run your character directly into them. And then he gets an armor slot for armor, power-ups, and equipment abilities. And then also, a limited number of vehicles can now be called in by the standard soldier, which is also useful. The Air Raider gets additional weapon slots, because the problem is, if you're trying to play these single-player, and Earth Defense Force has a fully co-op multiplayer, both couch co-op and online. And so with the Air Raider being intended for a support class, he's very hard to play single player in Earth Defense Force 4. So for 5, they gave him a few more weapons. They gave him an additional equipment slot so that you don't have to give up sort of a primary weapon, like pick and choose between a primary weapon or an extra support thing. So basically, you can now have a primary weapon, call in an airstrike of some time, call in a vehicle of some kind, and then you get a piece of support equipment. So very useful. And the amount of airstrikes that you can call in there's a lot more variety to them. You've now got space lasers, and additional mechs and additional tanks.
Please tell me that the space laser is a giant magnifying glass to fry the giant insects.
I don't know. I've only used the space laser once, and it does have like a special like beacon or like laser designator that looks different from the others, but unfortunately it's not a magnifying glass. I'll have to inspect it better.
I'm just imagining, it's like a space station, and it's a kid that's focusing on giant magnifying glass under the giant insects.
That would not go amiss for this game, or for this game series. But I'll talk about some of the B-movie stuff that they've done, some of the new B-movie stuff after I just go through the other couple updates. The Air Raider, or not the Air Raider, sorry, the Wing Diver has always been my least favorite class after they added the classes. They're extremely weak. They level up extremely slowly, and they just have very low health. And in the game, as bullet hell-ish as it gets, it's really hard to survive. And so what they have tried to do is increase both the amount of jetpack energy that you have so you can fly for longer, and you now have like a midair dash, which can help you dodge incoming attacks. But I still really don't like the Wing Diver all that much. It's just not my class. And then Fencer, which is by far the most powerful class, with the mech suit. You can equip 4 weapons as opposed to 2. And the weapons have sort of a secondary thing that they do. Some weapons give you like a jetpack, others give you like a booster, like a horizontal movement booster. Some of them give you a sniper scope. Some of them can do like an additional like attack type or like a ground pound kind of thing that stuns enemies. Certain shields can reflect incoming projectiles back at enemies. So more of those, but now they just get straight up like some equipment slots that can modify your suit in some way. For example, fencers are the slowest class. So you can get ones that can give you a double jump to help increase your mobility and speed, or to double the amount of lock-ons that you can get with missile-based weapons, or allow you to like increase your suit's like shield energy so that you just get sort of like an extra buffer to your health, or allow you to also do like the pickup radius thing like the soldier can do. They're very powerful class. For solo play, they're probably the best. There's a few situations where that some of the other classes like are better, but they're probably the best. And so, I mean, the point of the game is like play through on every difficulty, and as you do so, you get more and more powerful weapons and more powerful gear, and you unlock sort of the next level of difficulty. But I mean, this game is like playing a B movie. So first of all, I mean, there is of course like, oh my god, look, it's the giant insects like level of dialogue that is still present, and it is still just as beautiful as ever. They've added some new like sort of story focused stuff in terms of like there are some recurring characters beyond just the
giant insects.
Well, beyond just the giant insects and sort of like the commander who like gives you your mission objectives and stuff, who sounds kind of like Discount George Takei. I did double check to make sure because I could see George Takei doing it. Because he's got a couple of video game appearances. Like, I mean, he was in Freelancer, for example, and of course, some of the Star Trek video games. But like, I could see him doing it, but alas, it was not George Takei. But anyways, there are some recurrent characters and some like very B movie like things of like, I'm gonna get to the safe zone so I can see my family. And there's like a 10 mission like the string where this guy shows up and he's like, I'm gonna get to see my family. Then you get to the end and he's like, my family didn't make it to the safe zone. It's like, oh no.
I like the switch, you know?
Yeah. It's beautiful. So, they've added some of that. There's also some building story plot. So the Earth Defense Force games have only ever loosely had connected plots, aside from the direct sequels. Like I said, it's like broad strokes. The timeline vaguely moves forward. Some games, it's like the first time an assault has happened. Some games, it's, yes, their aliens came once and we survived and we're prepared for them to come back stronger. But the connection are tenuous at best. This game has got like the first shreds of real like attempts at building continuity in the series. There's some stuff in here about time travel and dimensional like loops or like dimension hopping. And I think what they're setting up the plot for in the next game and with World Brothers is to say like, hey, the aliens can hop multiple dimensions and time travel. And so every time the humans beat them, the aliens learn and get better at fighting the humans, which is interesting. And it's not bad. So far, it hasn't felt like they're trying to do something epic. It's just like weird, kind of silly B-movie dialogue. It's like, things like, oh, this feels like, deja vu. This is, how could they have known that we were here? How could they have known that we had hidden our subs underneath the Arctic ice? So I think that's where we're going with this. We'll see. But it's silly. It's supremely silly. I enjoy the game. It's very fun to sit back and play for an hour and a half at a time. You can get through 5 or 6 missions in that time. So good. I love it. Just mwah. Oh, and they keep adding new songs that you can sing with your team. So there was this huge to facilitate, I guess, online play without microphones. There's a massive list of commands and quick chat messages, and the AI will respond to you. Like the AI soldiers will respond if you're like, "Hey," they'll be like, "Hey," but there are songs that you can sing, like marching. What are they called? Marching songs or whatever. It's so they're call and respond. So you'll pick a thing and your character will sing the song, and then the AI around you will sing the next line, and you can do this for all of the songs. So it's you're just running, slaughtering aliens and singing songs as a team. Glorious. Love it. This is a 10 out of 10 B-movie video game. So, yeah. Earth Defense Force 5. I love it. Love it. I'll report back on the future about World Brothers. And of course, I'm going to buy Earth Defense Force 6. Maybe not directly when it releases or immediately when it releases, but you'll hear about it on the show. I love this series to death. All right. What you got?
Giant insects.
The giant insects seem to be coming from underground. Are they building a nest?
Okay, so as we're recording this, Next Fest is up, so there's a bunch of demos. I have a few downloaded, but I only really had time to play one so far. And the one I picked was Linkito 2, which plays a little bit like The Incredible Machine, which is a 90s Rube Goldberg machine creator puzzle game. And it just doesn't quite hit the mark for me. And I think the main reason is that they're focused so much on like timing puzzles, at least in the demo, that it's put me off. So the idea of this game is that you are a semi-unwilling employee of this company. They hint to a very in-depth and kind of like dystopian story in the demo. Employment lotteries. Your predecessor has disappeared. Ooh, right. And the idea is that you're in the research department of this company. And this is the demo is covering essentially your assessment tests. And you're given various pieces of equipment, and you link one to another, hence the name, Linkito, to complete the task required in the puzzle. It doesn't get overly complex in the demo, which also might be a little bit of a detriment. They don't show some of the more intriguing parts. But there's a couple times where you have to very quickly link one thing to another as the electricity goes through, the signal or whatever, which is pulsing back and forth. And if you miss it, you have to try it again. And that's just not what I want in a puzzle game, you know?
Yeah.
It does seem like later on there's more of a focus on pseudo programming through logic gates, have almost like a Lemmings-esque element with robots. But the thing is that I think the demo just doesn't do it a good service, you know? I love the aesthetic, and I love the kind of like dark dystopian hints of the story. But if there's going to be such a focus on not just timing puzzles, but timing puzzles with very small windows of opportunity, or you have to redo at least part of it, then no. It does make me wonder how the hell you're going to play it with a controller. Or I could just have been brute forcing the puzzle too, because there's also kind of that possibility that whenever you get into puzzle games like this, there sometimes is more than one solution. So yeah. But looking at the screenshots, some of the later stuff does get very complex, but it's also more focused on like manual input for some of it, and not like Opus Magnum, where it's you're building the machine and that's it. You're not having to interact with the machine itself beyond the completion of it. You know.
Yeah.
And I think it's just possibly just it's not for me, but it's not a bad game either. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm trashing it, because it is very fascinating. But I just it feels like it's not quite scratching that itch.
Sure, that's fair. Was that it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is just a demo, so.
Okay, no, that's fair. Just that was really quick. You're not lying. That you when you said it would be quick.
Oh my.
Okay. Well, my other game to talk about is Dyson Sphere Program, a game that I have played in the past that was in early access. Is it still in early access? It is. It is still marked as in early access. Dyson Sphere Program released in 2021. I played it pretty soon after release, during, still a major part of the COVID lockdown times. And the last time I had played it was in early 2022, I believe. And then just, put it down for a while. I really liked the game, the core concept, the way that it played, but it was still a little bit early days, content light, good proof of concept. So the game has matured quite a bit. The basic principle, like what you're shooting for, is you are a AI pilot in a giant mecha suit, and you are one of the physical manifestations for this race of beings that exists in a fully virtual world. And you are sent to new sectors of the universe, and your job is to gather as much energy as possible to beam back to your home sector of space. And I'm not sure if it's like an alternate dimension or just another part in sort of our existing universe. That part has not been made clear to me, or if it was, I missed it. And so your job is to build Dyson spheres to collect all of the energy coming off of a star. And there are other ways that you can gather energy and use them to create what are called energy matrices. And those are used for your research, and then they are sent, sort of beamed off, like the energy and processing power of those is like beamed off to your home world. And you do this process. You're dropped in a little pod on a random starting planet, and that's got like some of the basic resources, and you're, told to go. And you start mining for resources, building up your infrastructure, very slowly building up your interplanetary infrastructure and the solar system at first, and then later on you get sort of a hyperdrive where you can jump around to different stars and continue the process, ever working your way up the tech tree, ever increasing your technological development. And a lot of that stuff that I'm saying was like, that was always the idea. It wasn't implemented. When I played, there was only one solar system. The tech tree wasn't even fully finished. The game stopped at what's called a Dyson swarm, which, for anyone who doesn't know, like, the Dyson sphere is like when a solid structure is built around a star to gather 100% of its energy. A Dyson swarm are like power beaming satellites that you swarm a star. And they're not 100% efficient, but they're still extremely efficient, and you can gather huge amounts of energy from a star this way. And so those are sort of the in-game technology is the Dyson sphere, and then the Dyson swarm is kind of your mid-range, like, energy gathering tech. And they have just added to the game, added jump drives, added more additional energy sources to power your mech, added more things that you can just do, tools to help you increase your efficiency, help you plan your builds a lot better. You can build or create blueprints for yourself. Like, I think the cap on the blueprints is 10,000 pieces. So you can sort of like build a blueprint for a planet and then just go drop it on multiple worlds. And the only thing that you have to yourself, like, personally build are the mining nodes. Or you can just leave those out entirely and create whole fucking factory worlds with an interplanetary transport system that you can build with drone transport ships that can ferry resources between your planets. There are a lot of options. They have done a very good job with that. They have added an enemy faction that is like coming to harvest, like they fight you and steal your energy. I played with them just a little bit to see how they work, and they work pretty much like any sort of creeping faction in any of these survival building games. It's fine. I turned them off. To me, that's not why I want to play the game. So, but the option is there. It's also got stats now where you can track how much energy you have harvested in your sector of the galaxy, because there is some like a decent amount of random generation that's going on here, but it's all based on that huge subset of like NASA data that you can get access to. So they are realistic models of space, and it's mapped onto the Milky Way. And so you can see where your little sector is and how much energy you've collected and view the world leaderboard. So I don't know. I think that's nifty, but it is a good game, which I enjoy. If you like, for example, if you like Factorio or if you like Satisfactory, there are very good, like there's a very high possibility that you will like this game. It scratches the same kind of itch. It does it in a slightly
off of it myself. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it scratches the same kind of itch. It does it in a little bit of a different way. But overall, like it's the same idea. So, but you bounced off of it? You've played it before?
Yeah, I played it on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Although I wasn't a huge fan of the. This is going to sound petty as hell, but of the movement system for the interplanetary, but planetary traversion. I just wasn't a huge fan of the mech.
Yeah.
Which it could have changed by now.
I don't remember. I feel like the mech more or less pilots the same.
It just felt more clunky than it needed to.
Yeah. It's mostly right-click based. You just click and anywhere on the world, and maybe they have made it better. Like you can just click anywhere you want on the planet, right-click, and your mech will run there. Sometimes it gets hung up on like buildings if you create some really weird areas for it to pass through.
When I played it constantly was getting hung up on like rocks and buildings.
Yeah.
So it just was. I was having this feeling of, boy, I would be enjoying this game so much more if I was just an eye in the sky, you know?
Yeah. I've only had that happen a couple of times where I've gotten hung up on something, and it's like, right, I created this basically untraversable wall with, production facilities. There's no way the mech can fit through here. And it doesn't auto fly unless you go across a body of water. There might be an option for that. There's a lot of options for customizing your mech, both in terms of its appearance, but also like its behaviors and its loadouts now. So perhaps there's a way where you can just turn off those energy saving features. When I play it again next time, I'll double check. But
I mean, like I said, I played it probably about I want to say year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So things have very likely changed.
It goes the way of Factorio in terms of like, by the end of in-game of Factorio, you're building very little in hand. You're building very little with your actual mech. You're using the blueprint system and the little AI drones to do stuff. And I'm already to that point where I'm starting to do that a lot more. And I would imagine by the end game, like you really can just play it kind of eye in the sky, because they have added drone like stations, and you place them on top of storage. They're like little drone landing pads, and you place them on top of your storage facilities, and you can set up rules for them about whether these drones serve to ferry specific goods around, or whether they go to find things and use it for production. They're really inefficient as a transport method for the most part. There's a few things where that they are just fine, and you don't need to build a whole ass conveyor system or rely on the transport drones, like the big ones, the interplanetary drones, to move things around. But I mean, what they are good at is you just set up a little network, and then they have access to all of the materials and can just build shit straight out of the storage facilities. And so you just stand and look at the map view and, go, okay, I'm going to drop this blueprint here. Boop. And then the little drones go out and build it for you. And like most of these games, it also hits a tipping point. Once you get your first decent Dyson swarm, your energy problems pretty much disappear, because you're harvesting, like right now on my system, I'm harvesting something like 12% of the energy coming off of my sun, and it powers you use little power ray receivers, and that powers the entirety of all of my planets that I've got so far in the system. I've got 3 bases. Sort of my starting base, which is a little bit of everything because it's your starting planet. And then I've got like a mining planet that ships all of the resources on planet to a production world for building solar panels because, you know, the swarm must grow. I've got a bunch of screenshots. Not a bunch, but a handful of screenshots that I've taken.
Yeah, I think it was just I didn't hit the tipping point, and something about Satisfactory just kind of scratched the itch, which I'm looking forward to the 1.0 update on that. Yeah, really be able to get back into it.
Here are... I've only taken a handful of screenshots, but here are all of my screenshots that I've taken of what I have worked on. But my little Dyson swarm. But Satisfactory is on my list to play because even though I played Satisfactory, I have 0 hours played on it in Steam. So I'll say this because I told you, but like I used the Steam like auto categories creation feature and created a list of games that I have zero playtime in, and I just want to play all of my games on Steam. Now, the keyword there being play, not finish, not beat, not whatever. Just play. Because if they suck, or if they're boring, I'm not going to keep playing them. But there are a few things on there that I have played before on other platforms, and I thought about getting rid of them, and I went, no, this would be a good excuse for me to play them again, because I haven't played them in a while. And I mean, the last time I played Satisfactory was during the COVID times. So 2-ish years ago, maybe 3. But anyways, yeah, that's it. I like Dyson Sphere Program. It scratches that itch for me. So to the news?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, excuse me. Our first news topic is Life by You is no longer among the living.
Yeah, so this is a game that we saw, late last year, supposedly coming to early access soon, and never made it.
Yep.
Hang on, I'm actually heading over to YouTube to find the trailer, because it should still be there. I mean, they were showing the character creator a month ago, which I didn't actually see that. So that should tell you this is kind of sudden.
Yeah.
Which we're in a kind of a odd position because these things happen all the time behind the scenes. Game gets announced, goes radio silent. We never hear about it again. Or might hear, oh yeah, we canceled that, like 5 years ago or something. But this is a very public, not only axing of the game, but also the game studio within 24 hours of it. So hey, a bunch more layoffs to add to the pile, right?
Yeah.
It makes me wonder one of two things. If it was just not working behind the scenes. Because there was a developer on Reddit talking about how it came from on high to not make one of the early access launches. Not that the game wasn't ready for the first wave of players, or if Paradox was just not seeing the possibility of monetizing it properly, because this is Paradox, right?
Yeah. Paradox is, well, they've been getting worse about that. I mean, not that they were particularly great about it, but they're being worse about it. Although, if any game studio could have pulled it off to make like a true competitor to The Sims, I feel like Paradox would be some of the best devs for the job, or one of the best studios for the job. Like, they've got a lot of experience with
publisher.
games. But fair enough, publisher, but them like getting behind it, I guess. Like, they're one of the only studios that would instill any amount of confidence in me to be like, okay, yeah, Paradox is behind this. Like,
but be able to throw enough money at it, because The Sims, the reason why we don't see many Sims like these days is that it's a stupid amount of work for a very big risk, you know?
Yeah.
There's, for as simple of a concept as the Sims games are, and let's just say base level game Sims, not adding the 30 some expansions, DLCs, stuff packs, redeemable coupons, or whatever the fuck EA is doing with the Sims these days.
Tie-ins with things like Star Wars.
Yeah. Getting Fortnite.
Wait, did the Sims have a Fortnite crossover?
Actually, I'm not sure. I was joking about that, but now
I haven't paid attention to the Sims in a while. Like, I had a Sims 4 run last year, a couple of years ago. But yeah, I just haven't in a while. I'm sure I'll have another run eventually. I'll buy some more stuff, but
anyway, it is a huge risk to take on such an entrenched player base, because the people that play the Sims that have multiple of the DLCs, if not just all of them, are the ones that have been playing this game series for decades at this point.
Yeah.
And just are so entrenched that I'm not sure that they would really be able to nudge them,
Yeah. I mean, I would be willing to.
Yeah, both me and you are willing to, but the thing is that we're oddballs.
Yeah. The Sims 3, the Sims 4 was such a big step back from Sims 3, and Life by You had more of a Sims 3 vibe, the ability to walk around and go to different places as opposed to like the lot, go to a lot.
World aspect of it.
Yeah. And I really liked that. I think a lot of people really like that. Like, I don't think I'm alone in that respect. So, like, I really liked that, and I miss it in The Sims 4.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, the reason why they took it out was that it was just causing so much of a hassle in the code. It was just building up so much junk that eventually just made the game unstable.
Yeah.
That's also what EA was saying. I do know that Sims 3 did suffer from, if you had a very old save file, it getting a little crazy. So there might be some actual truth about this. Yeah, I mean, this just looked really promising. I hadn't seen really any of their marketing since for, I don't know, about a year now. I saw the initial stuff. I saw a couple videos after the fact, but didn't really look at their channel to see what they've been doing. And they have actually really interesting character creator, which hopefully gets used somewhere else, because this is Sims 4 level, going in and creating a character from scratch essentially.
Yeah.
But we started to get into why we don't see Sims games anymore. It's a fuck ton of work, Yeah.
A lot of work, a lot of money. Right. You are right. You're fighting an uphill battle against a pretty static, invested player base. And
the games are just getting more and more complex. I mean, you saw a few of them in like the Sims 2, Sims 3 era, but I haven't seen anything in the Sims 4 era besides this one.
Yeah. Not that I can think of. I think Frontier would also be a developer that might could pull it off. But yeah, Frontier, Paradox.
Here's one other one that looks like it's a life sim that it looks like it's more based on social interactions. So I'm not sure if that's Sims-like or not, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the game?
Paralives. You live and then you die, but at least do it in nice hot. Do it in a nice house. Sorry. Paralives is an upcoming life simulation game. Build your dream house, create some characters, and manage their lives the way you want. It looks like it's a little bit more stylized.
Yeah. Release date 2025. Stuff's auto playing. Stop it.
Well, see how this one goes. Let's see. Publish. It looks like it's self-published too. So yeah, it won't have suits upon shutting it down if they don't think the profit margins are there. I do think that this is a developing story. It just really came down a few hours before we're recording, so there's going to be more meat to this later on. So we may come back to this to give it a proper last look.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is possibly just, Paradox tightening the budget after, City Skylines just absolutely flopped. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, actually.
Didn't Paradox have another big flop recently? Lamplighters? Isn't that a Paradox game? Yeah, Lamplighters League. Supposedly that was a big flop this past year as well. Or late last year.
I completely blanked on it, so that's saying something, huh?
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, the reason I remember it is because they moved a bunch of the Battletech devs to Lamplighters and then shit-canned the team right before they launched the game. That's why I remember it. I know it's not true. I know that this isn't how development works, but that spark in my brain is oh, they fucked up. They moved the Battletech people to Lamplighters. That's why there won't be another Battletech for God knows how long. I know that logically that's me putting that emotion into it is not correct, but that sort of emotional feeling reminds me that Lamplighters League exists.
Yeah, there's Lamplighters League.
But
I completely blanked on this game.
Yeah, so did a lot of people. I remember the sentiment when it released, but it was just a little quirky, had a few interesting bits, but it was supremely repetitive.
Yeah, so this is why we don't have another Battletech.
That's right. Yeah.
That's sad.
Pouring one out for my homies. Just all over my carpet.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it on Steam. Oof. Recent reviews mixed overall. Mostly positive, but not great. But just looking at Paradox developed and published. Alright, Age of Wonders 4... Victoria 3, Crusader Kings 3, which has been a little iffy with some of the DLC. Published games. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. City Skylines. Empire of Sin I played and was very lukewarm on. I don't think I talked about that one. It was just... It felt like it didn't quite know what it was wanting to do. It was one of those games,
Yeah.
Surviving the Aftermath, Age of Wonders, Planetfall.
Oh, man.
It just feels a lot like Paradox is losing their way or losing their touch on their projects.
Yeah, okay, so I didn't even know this game existed. Star Trek Infinite, developed by Nimble Giant, published by Paradox. Everyone is saying it's abandonware. It's like a Star Trek 4X, game. Very negative recent reviews, mixed all time. And all of the recent reviews are saying that they have abandoned the game. And it should not be purchasable anymore because it's incomplete.
Oof. I hadn't even looked at it.
I didn't know it existed until this moment.
Damn.
Man.
It just feels like Paradox is just slowly going downhill.
Yeah.
And just being propped up by some of their long-standing titles. Yeah, now I'm looking at the discussions on Star Trek Infinite. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, and I've had some recently re-peaked interest in Star Trek because Strange New Worlds is a pretty decent, I think, return to Star Trek form. I've seen some of that and have cautiously been moving forward with watching the series. I like Star Trek Lower Decks. And then the Orville, which is, obviously the spiritual successor to Star Trek.
Star Trek kind of, but funny.
Yeah.
I need to pick back up the Orville. About 2/3 of the way through the first season.
Yeah. The first few episodes of season 1 are the most,
cringe.
dumb, most cringe. And then, somewhere halfway, 3/4 through the first season, there's the noticeable shift to this is a love letter to Star Trek. And then the next 2 seasons are just extremely good. 3 seasons? Is that 4 seasons?
It has 5, I think.
Oh, does it have 5? I've seen 3 seasons of it.
Now I'm going to go double check myself.
But yeah, Star Trek Strange New Worlds feels like Trek going back to its roots in more ways than one. Because it's Captain Pike in the years leading up to the original series. It's a good reboot of the crew. So, because there are a few characters that carry over, like Spock, obviously, and Uhura and Scotty. And so, the actors that they've chosen have played those parts very well, and a lot of it feels very much like a mix of the original series and Next Generation, but shot like a modern TV series.
Okay,
it's
looks
pretty
like there's
good.
only 3. I must have been thinking of something else, or I'm just kind of there.
Yeah.
Looks like it's not officially been renewed for season 4.
Yeah.
But no word on if they'll get another one. But it's been 2 years.
Yeah. But yeah, Strange New Worlds is pretty decent. They've also got they've got 2 really interesting episodes that I've seen. One of them is a crossover with Lower Decks, which, chef's kiss. I can't believe how well they mixed an animated series with a live action series. And it just works. And then they had it, one of their recent episodes, which I've seen out of order because it's a musical episode, and I'm like, this is either gonna be really good or really bad, and I thought it was really good. Fucking love musicals, so musical Star Trek, and it's perfect. It's they run into a subspace anomaly that suddenly makes everybody musically inclined. And they're like, why are we singing and dancing? How do we fix it? And that's the whole episode. It's great.
Yeah, I'm still on episode 9 of 12 in the first season of the Orville.
Yeah. Yeah, the Orville, God, is so good. If you're listening to this and you've never seen the Orville, go watch the Orville, man.
Yeah, just suffer through the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes are extremely cringy.
It feels like where it finds its heart. It's about a girl.
It feels
that's the episode.
Yeah, it feels like a bait and switch, but in a good way. And I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it seems like Seth MacFarlane was like, "Haha, look, we'll do Family Guy, but in space, like Star Trek. It'll be funny." And then suddenly it's like, "Oh no, we're doing real Star Trek episodes with just some occasional swear words and dick and fart jokes."
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. And some of the stuff they tackle, modern day issues, there's a whole running plot point about, or story arc that goes through across multiple episodes. It might even carry through 2 seasons about a trans person and what does it mean to be trans. And I thought that was very good. Mm-hmm. But it's just good. So good. And, modern stuff about there's a planet where things basically work being upvoted and downvoted. I think that's in the second season. Or is that in the first season?
I saw it already.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while since I have seen it, but
it's a majority rule, episode 7.
Yeah, and it's a whole planet ran by upvoting and downvoting, and it's commentary on social media, and it's good. They do a really good job of explaining the Prime Directive, or the Orville's version of the Prime Directive. They've got their episode where they explain it. It's good. Gotta stop talking. I now just want to fuck off and go watch The Orville.
Oh,
Or Star
show's
Trek.
over.
This show's over, people. We're fucking off to go watch Star Trek.
Well, what about The Fifth Element? The Fifth Element's on Hulu.
Did they make a Fifth Element show? Or are you talking about the movie? Dude, I fucking love The Fifth Element. Multipass. Corbin Dallas.
Which, that feels a lot more on point these days with, people just live streaming all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been years since I've seen Fifth Element. I should watch it again.
I'm not sure if it holds up. That's the thing I'm always worried about when I go back to something.
Well, we'll find out. I usually appreciate watching stuff that I haven't seen in a long time, especially like at this point in my life. I'm just so different than I was, 5-10 years ago. And I would say it was probably 10 years ago the last time I watched Fifth Element. Maybe even longer. Anyways,
well, we got way off track.
Listen, it was a grade A tangent. But yes,
also known as my favorite.
Indeed. So let's get back on track and move on to our next news story, which is also potentially probably a little bit of a general topic. Senior Riot devs say that League of Legends player base is getting older, with fewer newbies jumping in. So the article in question focuses on a couple of problems.
The age of players, but also the age of the game.
Yes, and things of like building complexities, changes in like game development, and a couple of issues with like smurfing, which is where you make a new account, right, and then go back. Like an old player makes a new account, that's smurfing.
Yeah. Basically a very skilled player makes a new account and goes down to essentially the newbie leagues and starts, just wrecking face.
Yeah.
Which I'm still fascinated about the etymology of the term smurfing.
I don't actually know the etymology of the term.
From what I've heard, it comes from StarCraft 2, I think. Maybe just StarCraft. Where a couple of very highly skilled players made dual accounts and were in the 2v2 league named Papa Smurf and Smurfette. And it just went around, I got smurfed.
Yeah. All right.
At least that's the story I've always heard. And I choose to believe it.
I mean, honestly, though, I could believe it. Like, that feels very video game nerd shit territory. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's focus on the literal gamers are older now. That's kind of the thing, is that gamers are older, but at the same time they're not. Because the average age of the gamer is still in the 30s, as far as I know. The problem is the gamers that have been playing League of Legends, they started in high school and now, they have jobs, they have, potentially family. So, they're going home and saying, motherfucker to their wife, right?
Yep.
And talking about how she's not feeding, right?
So according to this, these statistics were collected in 2022. And this is just like some Googling, so take this with a grain of salt. But according to these statistics on surveys done in 2022, 24% of gamers are under 18. 36% of gamers 18 to 34. 13% 35 to 44. 12% 45 to 54. 9% 55 to 64, and 6% 65 plus. So yes, your largest demographic is 18 to 34, your largest single demographic. But overall, 40% of gamers are over 34. And, that, like, there are many, many ways that you could break down these demographics, and the way that you look at the statistics could tell very many different stories. It's called P hacking, where that you like sort of dissect stats to try to find results, whether it's to support a specific conclusion or what. But I do think that gamers are, generally speaking, the population of gamers is getting older, and there will be some equilibrium that is reached. More people play video games now than ever. I think that will sort of continue to trend in that direction as the hobby has become more and more entrenched in popular culture and is one of the biggest entertainment industries on the planet. But, those of us who have been playing games for a long time, we're only going to get older. And older gamers approach games differently than younger gamers in a multitude of ways. There's the first way of, like, you're just older, and so most people who are older have other commitments, family, work, maybe they have other hobbies that they also want to participate in, social connections that you need to maintain if those are not primarily through gaming. You just don't have the time that you had when you were a younger person. And so that causes people to engage with games differently. People generally, as they age, mellow out. Partly, again, because of that busyness, that tiredness. But generally, as people mature, the things that they stress out about, that bother them, that they respond negatively to, changes. Because you just have a better way of coping with things overall. Whether or not it's more healthy or not is, depends on the person, but you're not just screaming at people in a COD lobby or typing racist shit into the, chat on League of Legends or Dota, So I think that there are more fundamental changes here than just like the people who have been playing our game for 10 years are not the same as the kids these days, and we can't seem to get the kids these days in. And I think that is, if it's not already and we just don't know about it or have any data on it, I think that's going to start affecting quite a few games. I mean, I think there's a few gimmies. World of Warcraft is a big gimme. EVE Online, or really any long-running MMO that continues to be moderately popular and successful, I think is going to have this happening, that the longer the game goes, the more complex it is, or the more different it is from what the kids are raised into, the more you're going to start seeing these things popping up of like, well, we can't get new players in, and the old players don't spend as much time with the game anymore, and potentially by extension money. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Personally, and I think you also fall into this group, but like, I don't want to make too many assumptions, but personally, my gaming habits have shifted almost exclusively to single player games over the last 5 years. And even before then, I was still playing fewer multiplayer games. But 10 years ago, oh shit, it has been exactly 10 years ago. Damn, one of those moments. 10-ish years ago with Destiny, right? Destiny was an online MMO, first-person shooter. Not the first of its kind, but like one of the first ones to come to console that I can think of. Like, I played the shit out of the first Destiny, But like, me thinking about that now, I don't want to do that. I don't want to play with random people online like that. And I don't think you do either. I think the games that you play primarily are single player, just like mine.
I do sometimes fire up Splatoon.
Sure.
But that's limited, and also there's no player interaction, really.
Yep. And it's the same for me with my couple of games that I play, like War Thunder. But there's, very limited interaction. I ignore the chat. I just play and try and enjoy myself. So I think that these are going to be a lot of questions that we're going to see over the coming decades. Maybe not even that long, honestly. Just people change, and the way we game changes. and the industry is going to have to adapt, and it's going through another series of growing pains, and maybe in a way that other industries don't have to deal with. Like, I don't know. I can't think of like a similar comparison for film or books or board games or whatever. You know, people age out of certain things, but I don't think, because those are sort of one singular experiences versus things that, like, we want this one thing to go on for as long as possible. I don't know. It's fascinating. The sociology of it fascinates me. Which, like, you know, big surprise, the therapist is interested in the social aspects of his hobby as it changes and develops.
Yeah, and a huge surprise, I'm interested in the mechanics, because I'm just sitting here, I'm looking at League of Legends, and just how many moving parts it has now. Yeah. It has a good triple the heroes that it had whenever I last played. Mind you, it's still, as far as I know, the same map, but there's over 150 heroes, which each matchup being a unique interaction. It is utterly mind-blowing to have somebody that's interested in the MOBA genre loads up League of Legends and looks at the hero list and they'll go, oh my god. Which I know, they have the rotating freebie heroes. But there's, at least when I played, or tried it out. But same played as being generous. I played it for like a couple weekends and just got frustrated with it. So, but there was limited information in game about how to handle things, and a lot of the gameplay terms, a lot of the gameplay mechanics have all been derived by the community, which is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at some of my other games, like Warframe. I haven't played that in good, 5 years. And there's been multiple, massive patches. And multiple, big maps that they've added. And I loaded it up, and I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And this is a game that I played,
Yep.
So, I think part of their problem is the new player experience, just in general. And also the reputation of League of Legends being, incredibly toxic. Not so much in the headlines these days, but, it still has that legacy,
Yeah.
And I just think the new player experience is handled better, and most likely Dota 2, and, back when Heroes of the Storm was still, alive, right?
Right.
And part of their problem is the self-fulfilling prophecy of they've built an incredibly large, complex game, and are shocked that nobody wants to, jump in blind, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just I'm trying to find a good quote from them. I mean, the most of this is focused on your side of it, where, it was 10 years ago when you're in middle school and high school, and League is the game everybody's talking about, that everybody's playing. There's a lot of other games that we're competing with now, which is also true. The market is very saturated, and I would say, honestly, a bigger focus on mobile and console as well. Because I know that there's a Pokemon MOBA that's doing very well. That's on both mobile and the Switch. That's free to play. It's not nearly as complex as League of Legends. It doesn't have nearly as many Pokemon heroes, whatever, yet. But the thing is that it has the fresh start, right?
Yeah.
There's just better new player experiences. I think it's quite not quite as simple as that, but there is that as well. Yeah,
I agree. I think there are better new player experiences. There's better onboarding experiences. Modernization has.
If I was to try to fix the problem, I would make the newbie leagues have a quarter of the heroes to remove some of the some of the choice paralysis.
Yeah.
And have the option of more extensive tutorials. I have no idea what their tutorials are now, or if they even exist. But go into the depth of the different mechanics. Talk about if you select a jungler, or a character that's strong at jungling, I should say. The concept of jungling. Talk about the concept of lanes. And I know that it's still a hell of a lot of information. But break it down, Or hell, even have versus bots matches as a training tool,
Yeah.
Once again, no idea if they have any of this.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But they're also really kind of old hat. Yeah, I mean, the mobile market isn't the hot thing anymore. It hasn't been the hot thing for, 7 years?
Yeah.
5, 7, something like that?
Something like that. I don't, like...
I'm not going to put a strong number on it, but, the big thing now is Fortnite Battle Royale and really just random-ass mobile games, which is far removed from the MOBA genre.
Yeah. And I was never really invested in MOBAs in the first place.
Me either. I tried it out to appease a friend, and oh boy, the things that were said in chat, and I know that I didn't even get the worst of it.
Yeah,
but there's a certain understanding of why it's so toxic, because a game like League of Legends, you're looking at an hour-ish match, and League of Legends can be essentially won or lost in the first 20 minutes. Even though, the match will still drag on for another 30. You're at a severe disadvantage if things go very poorly. And it just creates a high-stress environment that turns people into frothing lunatics.
I know some people who still play League of Legends. Now that I think about it. One of them lives here. In my cult, in my commune. He never talks about it. But he's a guy in his 30s who has been playing for, when did League come out?
10 years ago.
Was it exactly 10 years ago? Is it
older? Or I should say that's when they're focused on, so let's see.
2009.
So damn right.
Yeah. I mean, he's been playing for at least 10 years, maybe longer. And, that's neither here nor there, I suppose. But
I mean, hell, I'm looking at just my Steam library. I have various genre groups, the dynamic groups. It's based off of major genre tags.
Yeah.
And one of them is MOBA. And, I'm looking at all the dead ones here that is just in my account. Stuff like Awesome Knots. Dota 2, okay, that one's alive. For Honor, which I think is kind of still limping along. Paladins, which I'm not sure is even still around. That one was high res. Looks like it has a very low player base, according to some of the reviews.
Paladins. Still
Monday
download and play it.
Monday Night Combat.
I remember Monday Night Combat.
That was so much fun. It was such a shame that they focused on essentially a free-to-play replacement that just did not work.
Yeah. I remember playing Monday Night Combat in my dorm room when I was in college. Playing it with people in the room. I had it on Xbox 360.
But yeah, just, looking at the collection that I have. And that's just, what I have, right?
Yeah.
Dead Island Epidemic. Their MOBA that they built and have since abandoned. They doesn't even have a store page anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them out there. It's not exactly shocking that the old dogs. Super Monday Night Combat doesn't even have its store page up anymore. Damn. Yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of reliving some memories now, and some of the ones I actually enjoyed.
You're good. You can have your nostalgia time, of course.
Mm-hmm. I know Smite has basically turned into all the random ass crossovers like Fortnite has now. That was another one that was enjoyable. But yeah. You got any other thoughts or
No, I think I got all my
angles
thoughts
you want
out there.
to take on this one?
No, I think I got all my thoughts out there. I mean, and I hit it from the sociology angle.
Yeah, you hit that.
As I do.
Wink.
Wink. So, do you want to do a discovery queue, or do you want to move towards the end?
I think I'm good for a discovery queue if you are. I do know it's midnight, so it's up to you.
No, I'm good to do a discovery queue. I don't think it'll take us that long.
So, doobly do.
Doobly do.
Which I obviously have mine set up, ready to go.
I don't, so go for it.
So, I have an intriguing one. This is let me find the proper place. A first-person game, a first-person shooter in early access called Body Cam. And I think it's just all the filters and the way that they're showing it that it looks shockingly realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just look at the video on it. But the game is selling itself so much on first ultra-realistic multiplayer first-person shooter game made using the latest technologies of the next-gen game engine, Unreal Engine 5. It's just buzzword, 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 buzzword. So everything's telling me this game's going to look pretty. It's going to play like dog shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impressive looking, but part of me wonders just how much of that is, using the fisheye filter and you're in my brain filling in the gaps, because a couple of these others, it's like, well, that looks impressive, but it doesn't look nearly as realistic as that trailer, right?
Yeah.
And it might just be, where it's, that body cam shot, right?
Let me go look at this. I was getting my queue pulled up in the first game.
Yeah, watch the trailer. Which, make sure it's on mute because it does have screaming YouTubers. Which is also something else that kind of puts me off, is that a lot of the trailer is just, YouTube, Twitch streamers just yelling.
Yeah. This is interesting. I mean, basically...
Like I said, it's enough filters and perspective that you're filling in the blanks,
Yeah. I was going to say, that's exactly what this is the right, like you said, filters and that sort of vignetting to make it look like it's the police body cam or military body cam. And like the shaky weapons where it's like, oh no, the camera is fixed, but the hands are not. Like, okay. I mean, it's a neat effect. I'll give it to them, but like,
I'm just wondering if there's any legs to the concept.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. I don't. You'll have to prove it first, but yeah. How much is it? $33.32.
That's
not weird.
Worth that. I'm assuming that it's a nice round number in another currency.
Probably, yeah, probably. Yeah,
no, round-ish,
Yeah. So, for my first one, I got a game by the name of Enshrouded, which I have seen a couple of YouTube videos about this because my kid watches YouTube, and one of the YouTubers he watches plays this game. But having seen a YouTuber play it and like looking at the Steam store page, the easiest way to describe this game is someone looked at Valheim and thought, yeah, I'd like to make this, but like a little less grounded in reality. And Valheim is not like super duper grounded in reality, but that's what it feels like to me to watch someone play this game. So, if you like Valheim, maybe you'll like it. If you don't, you probably won't. I mean, it's a survival crafting game that's got like some stuff in the world that's like pushing you to try to like explore and engage with the story, but also if you want, you could just like chill out and chop down trees and, I don't know, fight monsters. So yeah, Enshrouded.
Well, I guess I'm continuing the theme of first-person shooters with interesting aesthetics.
Okay.
Fallen Aces, a 90s-esque first-person shooter with like a comic book aesthetic that's set in the 1930s.
Yes, I have seen this. A random YouTuber I found who's like, I don't know how much of a character it is. He's like a redneck sounding guy, plays this game. Or well, not this game specifically. He's played like the demo or something, but yeah, I've seen it. It looks neat.
Yeah, it's early access once again. With one episode out. I don't know what the actual plans are for the full release.
Yeah.
Looks like 1/3 of the game is out based on this, with 5 levels of the planned, I'm assuming 15.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's channeling, 90s first-person shooters, the levels are going to be fucking massive mazes with all sorts of secrets and stuff to find. So I could see it be interesting. $12 with a introductory launch of 25% off. That goes on till the 21st. So, day of the release of the episode. So yeah. And one of the weapons appears to be a rat. I don't know what the rat does. I don't know if it has the plague. I don't know if it's going to, guy's going to run up and shove it down the person's pants. But, yeah.
So, yeah. I think I'm going to get Fallen Aces when it comes out. Or at the very least, watch
the full
it.
Release?
Yeah, the full release. It looks neat. I like the aesthetic. Okay. So I got Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix. I'm not a Kingdom Hearts person. I'm so far out on the weird eccentricities of the series. But this is 6 games. I don't know how any of these fall into the chain. I'm just going to list them off. Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix. And Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Although next to that one and 358 over 2 days, it says HD cutscene compilation. So I don't know if that means that it's not actually the game. It's just the cutscenes all together, or what. I don't understand Kingdom Hearts. I get the initial appeal of Disney and Final Fantasy. Wow, a wacky combination, neat. But that series has went so far off the fucking rails. But people love it, and so if you're listening and you have been waiting for this, it just released a couple of days ago. Enjoy.
I'm assuming 2 of these is just movies.
Yeah,
since looking at it.
Since it just says HD cutscene compilation.
Yeah, I'm looking on Reddit now. Yeah, it's literally just a movie.
Cool.
Well, let's put it this way. I searched how to catch up on Kingdom Hearts, and there's a Final Fantasy post that is a good several thousand words on Kingdom Hearts explained. Just damn. Kingdom Hearts seemed like such a silly, easy to follow game the first couple games, and then things went wacky when they realized it was making Disney money, right?
Yeah. I swear some of the Kingdom Hearts titles, they were just fuck it, can we get away with it? And they did. They did get away with it.
Yeah, there's... Oh, God. Okay. So these are this is the release timeline. Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, Re-Chain of Memories, Coded, 358 divided by 2. Yes, I know it's by 2, but I don't care. Birth by Sleep, Recoded. There's Birth by Sleep, then Recoded, both in the same year. Dream Drop Distance 1.5 remix, Kingdom Hearts X 2.5 remix, Unchained Union 2.5 final chapter prologue, Kingdom Hearts 3, Dark Road, Melody of Memory, Missing Link, which is coming out this year. And then Kingdom Hearts 4, which is announced, but who knows when that's coming out.
Oh my god, really?
Yep.
Jesus fucking
Look,
Christ.
if you're just playing the numbered ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's 13 games total. That's released since 2002.
Mm-hmm. I played the original Kingdom Hearts, and it was neat, and I liked it. Mm-hmm. And then I came back, I don't know, 5 or 6 years later, and was just
what the fuck happened?
What the fuck?
Right.
And then I was done. All right.
Okay, so
anyways, yeah.
So speaking of quirky and fun JRPGs, I have Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. Yeah, a nice quirky, fun, definitely not dark and brooding JRPG, right?
Yeah.
For those who don't know, this is the series that Persona spun off of. And this is the one that was infamous for for being extremely dark. And this is Persona back when it was dark, was considered the light version of this series. So, hey, if you want dark, edgy JRPGs, here you go, right?
There you go.
I've honestly never really followed. Is that just some random naked dude? Sorry, I was... you know how they have the GIFs that just show, gameplay on the store page? It's showing, Salmon, woman running through the... through a snowy field. And then it's I'm assuming player character or one of the player characters talking to just the naked guy that's just sitting there. That's camera angle is just where you're not seeing the cock and balls.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a crazy one, but not as crazy as Kingdom Hearts. But
yeah. So, I got Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which is the Ubisoft open world, basically Far Cry, but with the blue alien people in it. From everything that I've seen about this game and have heard about this game, it is, if you like Far Cry and you like the James Cameron Avatar movies, then you'll probably like this game. I like them okay. But if you don't like either of those things, then you won't like this game. It's a Ubisoft game, and everything that goes along with that, fuck Ubisoft. But it is, it's caught my eye a few times. I've considered, raising the Jolly Roger once a version of the game that fixes a lot of its stability problems and how shittily optimized it is. Seeing this game, though, reminds me of... I think it was just Avatar the Game was the name of the game on Xbox 360. And it was great. It was just a halfway decent third-person action shooter, and you could choose to play either the humans and fucking kill nature, or play as the alien people and kill the humans and save nature. And I played through that game. It had a conquest mode also, where you captured territory. You can get bonuses for your character. But I fucking played as the humans, and I killed all the aliens, and I conquered the world. fuck your nature. I miss that game. Anyways, that's it. Frontiers of Pandora. Fuck Ubisoft. Blue alien people. Yay.
And also fucking everything because, or with their USB cable.
Yes.
So I got a game called Soul Mask, even though it might be pronounced Soul Masked. I've been sitting here reading through the store page to try to figure out exactly what this is doing differently than every other survival game, and really I got a lot of nothing. The top review, it's like Conan plus Ark with competent developers. So,
yeah.
Basically, you are you escaped a deadly sacrificial ritual, which is in contrast to non-deadly sacrificial rituals, right?
Of course.
And you found an ancient mystical mask on your journey. This mask holds potent knowledge, changing the world you knew. Face harsh challenges of nature, survive, and rally forces. It's essentially a survival game with a bit of tribe building in it as well. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it's also not my thing. And it looks like it's heavily focused on powering up your single character to basically godlike status.
Yeah.
Which kind of... Does that defeat the purpose of a whole survival game? What the hell do I know, right?
Indeed. Sorry, I'm reading about this next game. Okay. Batten? I don't know how to say this. Batten
you baiting over there? I'll give you some free time.
Batten Kaidos. No. This is a remaster of a JRPG that I've never heard of, but it looks like a quote-unquote classic or traditional JRPG, which I really like. I've always liked JRPGs. Oh, wait, no, that's good. Oh, cards. What is that? A deck? What? There's deck building?
Looks like
it's two different games. Okay.
Looks like it was on GameCube.
Oh, okay. I mean, there are a ton of JRPGs that I've never played because back in the day, back in my day, when you couldn't just find anything you wanted on the internet, like if you didn't, when you walked into Walmart or whatever, whatever games were in the cabinet, whatever there were. So there was tons of stuff I never saw.
This way. Looking at the cover art of the GameCube game, which, mind you, I didn't have a GameCube. I don't know about you. I did. It looks very generic.
Fair enough, but you know what? Generic JRPG I've never heard of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right now, it's 40.
That's the shows you the cover art.
Yeah. Eternal Wings in the Lost Ocean. It does look very generic JRPG. I mean, right now it's $45. That's too much. But eventually, it's also on Switch. It'll never come down in price on Switch.
Which might mean it never comes down in price on PC.
Yeah. But it may go on a big sale at some point.
Or I'm thinking, since it's on GameCube, hoist the anchor.
True. Head off to Emulation Station. But yeah. Batten, Kaidos? I'm 100% sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Looks neat. I'm into it. Oh, look, a porn game. I haven't had one of those in a couple of queues.
Yeah, well, I had Kingdom Hearts, so there's that. But I have another one. Well, not another Kingdom Hearts. Although, oh boy, could they really, right?
Yeah. Once Upon a Time.
Oh God! I gotta applaud him on that one. Bravo!
Yeah,
bravo. So I got Sunnyside, which is find harmony in the Japanese countryside as you help Sparky uncover lost memories and this modern take on farming and life simulator. It it looks like it has some severe performance problems that has really impacted its reviews. It is very, very, very poorly reviewed right now. Pretty much once something gets down to mixed in the 60s, 70s range, I'm very leery of it.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's the case with this one, where the top preview is talking about there's no romance options, which is kind of surprising for a farming game. No romance, no marriage or kids options. You can talk somebody out of his wishes for marriage and kids, right?
Yeah.
Looks like it's just having a very, very rough launch. It's not early access though, so it might be one to look at later on. It is nice to see characters with smartphones,
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially the Paul screen, but it's kind of more immersive. Although, it doesn't look bad. It looks like it's just having some real performance problems that's bringing it down, and also subverting some of the expectations of the genre.
Yeah. So I got Monster Hunter Stories remaster. It doesn't say it in the name, but it is a remaster of the original Monster Hunter Stories, which I did not know was a thing until just now. But it's a JRPG Monster Hunter game. Fucking JRPGs all over my Discovery queue today, which I'm here for. But apparently there's a Monster Hunter Stories 2 as well, and you can buy it as part of the collection. But this is just the old game. Neat. I want this. I like this. It's a little bit cutesy too. Like Monster Hunter is not like dark or gritty, but like it's got a lot more of a cutesy.
Well, anything that has a
Digimon-esque art style.
Anything that has a talking cat making mochi isn't dark.
Yeah. All right.
So I have Ultimate General American Revolution.
Oh, hey, I got that one too.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Game Labs. Yet another in their Ultimate Fill in the Blank series, it seems like.
Yeah.
Very detailed. Focusing on the American Revolution, kind of, I guess grand strategy would be the proper term for it, even though it's, it's kind of condensed for that,
Yeah.
I've actually never played any of their games, so I don't know how it really would stack up. There are some complaints that it is overpriced, which, $50 is a bit of a hard sell these days, honestly. But then again, I'm a cheapskate.
Got another porn game.
Oh, I just got Once Upon a Time 2.
Oh, hell yeah.
I got the sequel.
This is like a collectible card game, porn game. It's called Lust Goddess. I'm not gonna... It's free to play. Everybody's saying it's pay to win. Of course, our policy is to not put porn games, links to porn games, in the show notes. But if you really want to go check it out, there you go. It's not... Nothing will ever be Once Upon a Time, right? Like, those people, like, nailed it.
Too.
Fair enough, but, like, they nailed it. They know what they're about, and I'm here with them. I'm here for them. Oh, here's another porn game.
Is this the game that you got porn and cards, literally? That's the title?
Huh?
They have another one coming out called Porn and Cards. An adult visual novel turn-based card game.
Okay.
Gotta respect the hustle, right?
Yep. Oh, this is interesting. Again, it's another porn game, so apparently, like, my last couple of games are gonna be porn games. But it is a survival crafting porn game. It looks like it plays kind of like... Shit, I don't know what it looks like it plays like. Because there's, like, some hints of, like, Stardew Valley, at least in the way that the screenshots have portrayed this a little bit. But then it's like, here's a giant robot that laser beams you. And ladies you can have sex with. And a werewolf? Neat. Oh, they've got no Okay, they've got no arms or legs. That took a turn. I think I was on board up until that point. I'm not a torture porn guy. Huh. Okay. Cool.
How about that? We found one that you don't like.
Yep. I don't have good feels about that one.
Well, what if it's consensual?
I suppose. All right. Last game. What do we got?
I have. Oh, sorry. You want to go ahead or?
Have you Balatro? Have you gotten Balatro before?
Yeah, I own it. I've talked about it before.
You have. Okay. All right. Then I'm gonna skip over it. I got Balatro. That's my last game.
Well, you can give me your first opinion. First thoughts on it.
I mean, I've heard you talk about it. I mean, it looks neat. The poker roguelite deck building kind of thing.
Yeah, well, roguelite is not the proper term for it. Deck builder is probably more on the nose.
Sure.
And the game is utter crack, you know?
Yeah.
Especially once you figure out some of the mechanics and start getting interesting decks. So yeah. I have Reese 2. God Game, which that's a genre that feels a little dead, huh?
Yeah.
I've never played the original. It's a 2D God Game town builder. I just don't know this the original well enough to really be able to comment much on it, but hey, it's it's the God game genre, right?
Yeah.
And my last one is F124, which mixed reviews, and it's yet another racing game. So, another F1 game. So, right.
Indeed.
It's a yearly installment of a racing game. If you want a racing game, then I would suggest Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
You can go Vroom in that. Or just Forza Motorsport.
Indeed, you can go Vroom in that. Although the newest Forza Motorsports is not very good.
Oh, it isn't?
No. I talked about it, I don't know, several months ago. Beginning of the year, end of last year, something like that.
Out sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I wasn't sure if it had changed, you know?
Yeah.
Because, it is a live service game, so it does change over time. So I don't know if it had improved.
Yeah, playing the latest Forza Motorsport, just kind of not bad, not good either.
Much like us.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, hey Rage, why don't you hit them with them socials, hit them with your stuff. Anything you want the people to know.
Stop taking on my goddamn chicken.
Very wise.
Caffeine Rage on the Bluebird, Caffeine Rage on Steam, and yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm Jared. You can find me on Twitter and on Blue Sky at JMA4707. Talk to me on Discord. Send me a smoke signal. Whatever. There's ways you can get in touch with me. How can people send us stuff if they want to?
Well, you can do so by going over to vglpodcast.podbean.com. You can find a link to the Discord there, which you could drop stuff there. You could email us, vglpodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet us, vglpodcast VGL Podcast on the Twitter. Smoke signals might work if you're nearby. Although, with the fucking heat, I'm not going outside whenever I don't have to. So just be sure I'm near a window. But you shouldn't be sure because that means you're looking in. Pervert. Am I missing any options to contact us?
I don't think so.
Our lovely, lovely patrons have made this madness possible. You can find out more about that over at patreon.com/VGL Podcast. Once again, VGLpodcast.podbean.com, which has our show notes. And if you wish to spread the love, you can find us on your podcatcher of choice. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground, and our Discovery Key music is Doobly Doo, with Kevin McLeod. Both could, in theory, be found on Computech.com. And
as always, as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice, Bye bye now.
See you in 2 weeks.
Bye bye.